All right. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second November edition of the Garden State Java User Group. We have a special treat for all of you, especially out there in TV land. We have Josh Long and James Ward that are on their way over from Brooklyn right now. They estimated an arrival of 7 o'clock. So we'll kick things off. I'll do as much as my Jakarta EE talk as possible. But of course, we got to do our normal housekeeping stuff. And so, of course, most importantly, we want to thank our sponsors, talk about what's new. Then I had the opening act, right? And then the main presentation with Bootiful Spring AI with Josh and James. And then you talk about our usual stuff. So first and foremost, our gold sponsor is Payara, makers of Payara platform, which includes their server and their micro, and also they have their Payara Cube, which is mainly for deploying without having to know Kubernetes. You can deploy. And then Payara Cloud, they announced it a week or two ago that now Payara Cloud is integrated into Payara Cube. So even my demo account actually got migrated over. So when I logged in, it just says Payara Cube. So fun stuff. Anyway, yes, so Azul, their downstream distribution of the OpenJDK, and so they're our silver sponsor. We partner with DevNexus. They've been with us since day one, since we rebranded as the Garden State Jug. Next year's conference is the first week in March in Atlanta. In case you want to go, it's always that's a great conference. And then we thank our sponsors here. Romanelli's provided the pizza tonight. And of course, we have Jakarta EE and JetBrains. And our memberships, as you can see, this has not changed. And I'm going a little faster tonight. So, and then of course, you've seen this already too, all the different podcasts that Payara has done with the Java user groups that they support. And let's see. So, of course, the 25th anniversary of the Garden State Jug is in February of next year. Yes, 25 years, right? I had a lot more hair back then, you know, in 2001. So, the second, I don't know. I know New York is the oldest. Yeah, it's maybe one of the oldest. Yeah, I think there was somebody before us too. I can't remember which one, but yes, but we're up there. So. There's Payara Cube, Oh, JDK 26, there are 10 JEPs right now that are targeted for JDK 26. There's another couple of weeks left before ramp down phase 1, which means the feature set is frozen. So there might be a couple of more coming. We'll see. Release schedule, December 4th is ramp down phase 1. Jakarta EE12, I may have mentioned this last week. Jakarta Query was now part of Jakarta EE12 platform and the web profile. And a new spec which was approved and is up on the specifications page is Agentic AI 1.0. All right, so, okay, Josh and James, that'll be for later. Right now, I'm going to switch over to this. Okay, so, all right, perfect. That is a picture of Providence, Rhode Island, and that was taken earlier this year. So pretty right there. That's I-195 going with that bridge there. All right, so yes. I don't know if any of you have seen this in the past. This is the history of Java EE or J2EE, which it was at the very beginning. And then it's evolved to Java EE and then Jakarta EE in 2019. So it's been a rich history in enterprise Java going back to 1998. So, well, you know me, okay? So, but this is all I do in retirement. So it keeps me very busy. And you know, my wife and I like to travel, so we can do our thing anywhere. So that's the beauty there. So as you know, I've been writing for InfoQ, and I've been working with Payara, Java Champion. I'm very proud of that, by the way. and all these other things. So, thank you. So, yes, and I wrote my first book that came out almost a year ago. So, so that was, yeah. So, all right. So enough about me. All right. So, who here considers themselves a Jakarta EE expert? I'm not even raising my hand on that one. So, all right. Who here has built an application using Jakarta EE? All right, Chandra. Who's familiar with Jakarta EE but haven't used it yet? All right, a few hands there, good. And then I've heard some things about Jakarta EE. And everybody should have their hand up because I always mention it every so, and then finally, I hope nobody is here asking the question, what the heck is Jakarta EE? And Paul raised his hand. All right, so yeah, I always like to do that, get an idea of what people's experience. All right, so we have 3 profiles in Jakarta EE. There's the platform, which is all the specifications that have been voted in to be part of the overall platform. There are 43 specs now, only about 30, or maybe 31 now, that are in the platform. There's the web profile, which is a subsection of the platform for web applications, and I have slides on these. And then there's the core profile that came out with the release of Jakarta EE 10. All right, so here's the platform. This is, like, as I mentioned, right? This is, all the specs that are in the platform itself. And then this is the platform for Jakarta EE 11. So 12 is starting to get built. I have somewhat of a current slide for that later. The web profile, again, as I said, it's a subset for web technologies. And that's the list right there. And then Jakarta Data was brand new for 11. And core profile, this is basically for smaller runtimes, microservices. The micro profile specs that originally started on 3 of them are now use the core profile because those original 3 from 2016 are in there. And as you can see, it's dependency injection, JSON processing, and RESTful web services. Those were the old JSRs from back in the day, from 2016. So now MicroProfile now just uses this as dependencies. All right, so how did we get to Jakarta EE 11? This was quite a long road, but for good reason. So the milestone 1 almost came out 2 years ago. And then milestone 2 in March of last year, milestone 3, April, and then in May was milestone 4. Now, the intent was to have the full Jakarta EE 11 out by July of last year. That didn't happen. And this was because they decided to upgrade the Technology Compatibility Kit, or TCK. And so because of that, everything was delayed. Now, the core profile, as you saw, only had about 7 specs. So it was easy to upgrade that the TCK for that and get that out quicker. So that was about a year ago it came out. And then the web profile came out in April of this year. And then finally, the platform was released at the end of June. So we're finally there, right? So now work has been going on for 12. We'll get there in 11. So in 11, basically what was new. Why am I going through this again? Oh, I must have hit the wrong button. Okay, sorry. In 11, there was Jakarta Data was the new spec, as you saw listed in orange. Total of 16 of the specs were updated for 11. And a lot of that included, well, a couple things. CDI Lite basically is a separation of the old CDI itself for integration. I keep forgetting how to do this, but it has to do with the documentation and, sorry, I'm drawing a blank. So, but yeah, there was a separation between the two. And I'll have to look that up later to give you guys an answer. Optional features were taken away. Usually with the spec, if you want to implement it, a lot of the stuff is required. The whole optional feature thing was taken away with those specs right there. So you won't see those getting updated, the Jakarta SOAP, XML Web Services, and the binding. There was support for Java records, as you know, came out in Java 16. So you see these three specs right here now support that. And then naturally with Jakarta concurrency, there's support for virtual threads. All right, there was also removal of the legacy managed bean annotation in favor of CDI. So you won't see that anymore. Security Manager, as most of you may know, was deprecated in Java 17. It hasn't been removed yet, but I think it's been disabled. There was something with that. Right, Chandra? That sounds about right, yeah. There was some initial work on microprofile JWT authentication and Jakarta security, collaboration on using that. And then these are the updated specs. I'm just going to kind of go through that quickly. All right, and we're going to skip the questions. All right, so getting started. I could run a demo if we have time. I'll skip that to the end if Josh and James haven't arrived yet. But I use Payara Micro in my demos, and the repository is up on my GitHub. You can download that. And there's Payara Cloud. I need to update that for Payara Cube. So, all right. All right, so the demos, and I got to update that too. So Payara Micro 7.2025.1, okay, beta 1 is gone. So now Payara now is fully compatible with Jakarta EE 11. All right, so there's a whole process for that to happen. So vendors, Wildfly and Open Liberty and all them, they have to file a compatibility request, and then they need to pass all the TCKs for that. All right. Let me see how we're doing on time here. All right, got about 10 minutes or so if they're here. All right, so work has begun early this year on Jakarta EE 12, even before the formal release of Jakarta EE 11. There are now 4 new specs. I really didn't have the time to update these slides, but you see the 3 up there, Jakarta Query. So now you basically have a hierarchy of Jakarta Query, Jakarta Data. You have Jakarta NoSQL and Jakarta Persistence. So that's all going to work together. As Otavio Santana likes to say, this is the new data age, right? So a lot of exciting stuff. Jakarta Persistence has the Jakarta Persistence query language. There's a corresponding Jakarta data query language. Those are going to wind up in Jakarta Query. So Portlet and Portlet Bridge, these are old JSRs that just came in. Most likely they won't be part of 12, but Query, as I mentioned earlier, is part of 12. And then there's the new, as I mentioned earlier, the new Agentic AI 1.0. From what I hear, I don't think it's going to make Jakarta EE 12, but it's a new spec. There's already a group working on that, so should be pretty exciting.
Mike,
yes?
The security manager was deprecated in Java 17 and
right.
completely
disabled.
24.
Right, that's right. Yeah, but it wasn't removed yet. Right, yeah. So thank you, yeah. And then, yeah, security manager right there. All right, perfect. All right, deprecations, application client container, Java native data interface, right? Or something like that. Hello, come on in. So, JNDI is going to be deprecated. There's talk about an HTTP3 spec that hasn't come to fruition yet, but people are talking about it. You know, additional support for virtual threads and to have things more on context and dependency injection as well. So these are the kinds of things that are being considered. So, so far, there was a meeting today I didn't get to attend, so I'll look at the notes and see if any of those were addressed. Oh, Jakarta Native Directory Interface, right, JNDI? All right, there are 24 specs for which there will be updates. I heard actually from the proper folks that Jakarta Authentication and Jakarta Authorization will probably move under Jakarta Security. That makes kind of sense. Um, and then this is, and I kind of knew why at the time, but I forgot. It's a potentially fold the Jakarta debugging support for other languages spec into Jakarta pages. So that, yes. Oh, milestone 1 was released last month, and then milestone 2 is scheduled to be released on December 9. All right, so these are the updated specs. You see the Jakarta data 1.1, and so on. So there's 24 altogether. So even some of the ones that haven't been updated since Jakarta EE10 are now providing updates, but a lot of them are to remove Security Manager. So, oh, and Jakarta NoSQL, there'll be a vote on that at some point to see if that's going to make the platform this time. So, all right. All right, so yeah, there has been talk since March, and I found out at Java 1 earlier this year, and my jaw hit the floor, that Microprofile wants to move under the auspices of the Jakarta EE working group. And my first visceral reaction was, no blankety blank way. And then I kind of warmed up to it. Yeah, so I have to apologize to Tanya Obradovich for my reaction. I think I was pretty okay. I wasn't, I didn't do my normal New Jersey vernacular from that response. But
you mean blankety blank?
Yes. Well. So anyway, most likely, Microprofile JWT authentication will go under Jakarta Security. REST client and Microprofile will go on the RESTful web service. This makes sense. And there's been an effort for a while for a Jakarta config spec has been in the works for a couple of years. And I think the difference has had to do with CDI, and that's the way it was explained to me at one time. So look for these. There's still no official vote to dissolve the Microprofile working group. There's been a budget already approved for next year, so everything is in the works as if nothing has changed. So, but these are the kind of things that may happen. So there's a vote right now for the namespace. It makes my head spin. So, yeah, so I took the time to put this together of all the specs, which ones have the updates, which ones are new. Obviously, this was a little labor intensive, so I didn't add the agentic AI one in there yet. Plus, it will mess up the columns, right? Yeah. But anyway, so that's kind of the overall. So you can see which ones haven't been updated in a while. Managed beans, of course, probably won't get updated, and so on. What's more accurate, though, is right here. And you can see Query 1.0 in orange as a new spec. And then MVC, Model View Controller, may go in. NoSQL 1.0 may go in, but they're standalone right now. And you can use them, by the way. If you want to use MVC in your application, easy enough, right? So that's the list right now. Yeah, so, okay. All right, here's the roadmap. All right, milestone 1, October. Milestone 2, third quarter. This would be next month. That would be fourth quarter, actually. And then milestone 3, probably early next year. So, ooh, wasn't there more? Oh, sorry about that. And, there we go. Milestone 4. And then there should be for, here we go. So core profile, right, web profile of July of next year, right? So we'll see how that goes. I think the effort that got put into modernizing the TCK will make more of efficient releases for, Jakarta, 12 and beyond. So Jakarta Query basically is an object-oriented query language, right, to be used with all the other data-oriented specifications. So I haven't had a chance to wrap my mind around that yet. And Portlet was, if you remember the old days, there was a Portlet spec, and this basically was got to use that for like Jakarta faces and things like this. And there was a Portlet container. All right. So, and then there's the bridge, and this was a migration from JSR 378. So the version numbers align with the, from where it came. That's why it's 3.0, and it's probably be 4.0 for Jakarta. So yeah, it has to do with Jakarta faces. Future Directions Group. This started a little over a year ago. I help out Neil from IBM, and we meet every other week. And basically, this is a group to work on the future of Jakarta EE. So we try to have somebody, give a little presentation on a spec or something like this. And the meetings are only half hour, right? Anybody is invited. It's open to the public, right? So it's definitely a good group if you're interested in joining. Like it's every other Thursday. I'm not sure if we're going to meet the rest of this month. Some folks were sick last Thursday, so we didn't have a meeting. But in any event, this is for the future of Jakarta EE. All right, and the role that we do is, for ideas and research, we work closely with the Jakarta EE and microprofile working groups. So there is a mention of, what might be coming up in each of our meetings at the Jakarta EE Tuesday meetings. So, and then, the idea is to recommend, right? So we don't expect the working groups to follow our recommendations, but we can make recommendations. So, participating members, we've been part of that since day one, and you can see all the other folks that are part of it. And as I mentioned, we need you, okay? If you want to join, it's like I said, a half hour at 12 noon every other Thursday. Let's see. All right, resources. So we still have a few minutes. It's 7 o'clock. Okay, I'm looking to see if I have a text from Josh or anything. Okay, all right, let's.
Chandra went out. I think he's getting them. I think they're here.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
Do you have time for questions?
Yeah, sure.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
Well, the first one is Jakarta and the people who are going to speak after you are not in quite direct competition, but
Well, Spring uses Jakarta EE. Yeah, because
does
yes,
Okay.
yeah, they're using the APIs. You can ask Josh.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because Josh is a developer advocate in Spring.
Okay.
Yeah.
the question that I saw coming by was about web sockets,
Okay. Yeah.
and Spring Boot seems to make that really hard.
Yeah, I have not. Ask Josh. That's a Josh question. So, yeah, no, there's a Jakarta WebSockets spec. Right. Yeah. So I personally haven't had a chance to play with that spec. It's my intent to, have some example demos for all of them, but that's.
So I got the demos working just fine.
Oh, you used? Okay. Yeah.
Integrating it into my own app,
Nice.
no.
Yeah.
Totally unsuccessful.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so as far as Spring Boot, I don't know. I mean, and as far as web service, now Spring has a web services.
WebSocket.
What? Oh, it's web service. Yeah, we're talking WebSocket.
WebSocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Ask them. So, yeah. So maybe we could do a quick demo. That's always the fun part. Let me open up IntelliJ IDEA. Now this, it's, okay, yeah, Jakarta EE11. Yeah, this is an old laptop. So, so you can see all the different, the different specs that I do here. I even have one for JWT Bridge, but it was like, so far, a feeble attempt. I have a JWT application, but I want to use the new annotation in the Bridge spec, which has not been finalized, by the way. But that was my intent, and I didn't get that far. But the one I like to show is Jakarta data. And let's see. First, I got to start MongoDB. First, I have to make this bigger. Okay. You can make this one smaller. I'd like to have it the other way around, but oops, in the wrong window. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in here I have a script to start Jakarta. Oh my goodness, they're here. So, hey, how's it going, James? Good to finally meet you there. So
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for having us.
yes, oh no, you guys are awesome making the trek out here.
Yeah,
So,
that's great. Glad it worked out.
yeah. So I'll introduce. We guys can get settled for a minute. Maybe
Okay.
have some pizza and
Great.
and I guess Josh is on his way.
Yep.
Okay. So cool.
Freshen
Cool.
it up, so.
So
Cool.
yeah. So thanks for being here. That's the main thing. I told everybody, you guys. Oh, there he is. Hey. Hey. It's good to see you, my friend. I'm not going to see you in San Francisco, so.
Oh, not going to be there Friday?
Yeah, no, I would have been out there by now if I was. So have some pizza. I'll finish up my demo, and we'll get. All right. So I have a script here that where are we? As you can see, I updated it. So it's using the latest version of Payara Micro, which is now fully compatible. So, oops, hope if I can spell. Okay, all right. And I'm using Maven here. And by the way, after your presentation on Tuesday, release candidate 5 came out with Maven 4. So they said it's going to be the last release candidate before it goes GA. So this generates Java docs too. So this is all the output from Payara Micro starting right now. So this takes a few seconds. Right, hopefully we're almost there. Uh-oh, we have issues. Okay. I don't know why that didn't. Oh, I know why it didn't work. All right, hold on. And I should change this back. Yes. 21. Oops. 21. There we go. Okay, let's do that again. Let's just gotta. Okay. I just need to set my environment back to 21. Just interestingly, if you go to start the actual server, it won't necessarily start with 25 yet. So because obviously it just came out, so that's fully supported yet. So it should work this time. So when you get a successful deployment, you'll see the URLs that you mapped out in your resource file. So there we go. See, now you can see them there. So you got the gets and the deletes and and the posts and everything else. So this is and this will not surprise anybody for those who know me well. This is a beer application. So a beer database in MongoDB. All right, so we'll copy that. We'll throw it up here. All right, and all these demos have the same splash screen, right? And then the various endpoints right here. So this one has a list of beers that correspond to a brewer ID, and there is a brewer collection. And you can see, you know, I made up, you know, in retirement, I always threatened with my wife that we would, you know, brew our own beer and start our own brewery. It hasn't happened yet. So, you know, to actually, you know, I come up with Red Lake Brewing Company in the Berkshires, Red Lake Brewing Company in Marco Island, and so on, every place we've been. But yeah, so this is basically, you know, the thing, you know, the output itself. So, well, with that, you guys need a few minutes still, right? So, okay, so, that's good. Yeah, they. So, let's see what else. All right, let's do one of the security one here. So, one of the things you can do is now multiple authentication mechanisms in that.
Yes.
Did I spell it wrong? Oh my goodness. Since when there was an H in package? Thank you. I'm telling you, I've got to write a script to update the GitHub because I git add dot git commit dash n. So what's nice about Micro is you can start this on the command line as opposed to starting the web server and deploying and, you know, all that good stuff. You know, so it's good for just doing these demos. Of course, I can start, you know, the server too, you know, and then deploy there. But this is quick for testing. So again, here's the URL for that. All right. All right, so we had a couple of things here. Single security servlet, right, with just me, and of course a very secure password known as password. So don't do this in production, folks. So basically in this demo, you'll see it had.
How did you guess my password?
Oh, okay. Is it called my password? And then have one here with Reza Rahman, you know, so basically you can do multiple authentication on that. So, yeah, let's see, what else we got? We have, these are all here. There's concurrency, JWT Bridge. It's a JWT app, which is kind of cool. Let's see if we, oh, yeah, there's still these things here when you do the multiple authentication. So I need to tell them that. So, what else we got here? REST is kind of boring. It just demonstrates one of the new methods that you can do. Let's see. All right. Oh, we got the typo again. Jeez, I tell you. I thought I got that the last time. No, yeah. All right, so that's going. I should add the Jeopardy music or something, you know, when doing this. Yeah, there you go. So while we're waiting, I need to get back into Spring Data too, and Spring Data, Micronaut Data, you know, all the others. You know, But there we go. So, but of course, yeah, I got to play around with Spring AI, right, Josh? So, they're working on that. I know Microprofiles had some meetings with the Microprofile AI group, and then the agentic AI was just approved. So, but there's a lot of work to be done for that, though. Yeah. All right, so we have a single security endpoint. Oops, what happened here? Oh, I got the wrong one. Sorry. That's security. I thought I typed that in there. JWP bridge. Okay, there. Now we got the right one. All right. So this is an unsecured endpoint, right? And it just says it that way. And then if you try the secured endpoint without a token, it says, hey, this is a secure endpoint, you know. So basically what I have here is a okay, oops. Okay, and it's generate token, right, okay. So I have a generate token script that'll generate a token, and there's the token, and then I have a run script that'll read that token. Actually, it gets generated with that token. So then they do run, secured. There we go. Oh, how come I didn't like that? No, that should do it. Oh wait, not /run. That's the one. Okay. Yep. So you can see at the very bottom there it says, "Hey Mike, you're now connected to a secured endpoint." So, so that's it. And the other ones, there's concurrency and Jakarta Mail and all these other things. So, while we transition, there is QR codes. If you wouldn't mind signing in, I'm going to read. I have Josh's picture and James's picture here. If you don't mind, I'll read your bios. Sure. Okay. So, I tell you, that's. Thank you very much, guys, for coming out. This was an absolute joy to have both of you guys here, yeah. So yes, and for making the effort to come out. Hopefully traffic wasn't that horrendous. Let's see. Nah, wasn't okay. All right, let's see. Jeez. All right, so.
I still don't know whether you're James or Josh.
I'm James. So Josh, as you know, he's a Spring developer advocate at Broadcom. We'll have VMware, right? Broadcom? Yep. But you've been around long enough to be part of VMware, Pivotal, right?
Yeah, Pivotal.
Yeah.
VMware again, Broadcom.
Yeah. So Josh is a Java champion, author of 5 books, including O'Reilly's upcoming Cloud Native Java, 3 best-selling video trainings with Phil Webb, and also a staff engineer, who's also a staff engineer at VMware, and an open source contributor to Spring Boot, Spring Integration, Spring Cloud, Activiti, is that what that's called? Activiti, okay, and Vaadin. So Josh has a weekly, This Week in Spring blog post, comes out on Tuesdays, right? And so what I do is once a month there's about 11 of the projects that have releases, and this week they're happening. They're the GA releases. Spring Framework 7 was last Thursday or Friday, and this week we got Spring Boot 4 among others with GA releases. So I always write a separate InfoQ news item on those releases, and I always text Josh and all that. So last month, I was so excited to tell you, hey, my wife and I are in New Orleans, and et cetera, et cetera. I forgot to tell you about the that I published it. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, we're there for 2 weeks.
Catch up. I'm going for the first time in December.
Oh,
So
I gotta send you my, my list of places
Yes,
to go.
thank you.
So I'll definitely do that. So yeah, so by Monday should have that news item out. I do that separate from my normal Java news roundup because with all those spring releases, it'll be a 20-minute read, so we don't want to scare people off, right? So I do the same thing for OpenJDK. I'll do if there's a whole bunch of movement of all the jets going through their life cycle, then I'll do the same thing. So, but yeah, so look for that, and you also do the Bootiful Podcast. That's hard to say, and that you have a lot of the Java luminaries on there.
Like the one movie they made from the legendary.
Yes, of course. Yeah, that was recent, and Bruce Eckel. Yeah. So yeah, and so yeah, look for those on spring.io/blog, and you'll see all those coming out. And of course, now we have James Ward, and he's been a professional software developer since 1997, with much of that time spent helping developers build software that doesn't suck. I love that line. He is a typed pure functional programming zealot who often compromises on his ideals to get stuff done. James is currently a developer advocate for AWS. All right, so I'm going to read these all out, all right, because there's a lot that James has done. His many achievements include co-author of the Effect-Oriented Programming with Bruce Eckel that came out last year. He's presented at numerous developer conferences around the world. He's been the treasurer of the Kotlin Foundation since 2023. And I didn't know there was a test containers community champion, so you've been, yeah, exactly. So that's pretty cool. That would happen in 2023. And then you were recognized as a Java champion in 2021. Led this, well, a lot of Java champions in this room, I love it. You led the Salesforce open source program office from 2017 to 18. You helped define the Reactive Manifesto. That was big in 2014, right? So resiliency, elasticity, reactive? No, there's 4, right?
4.
Yeah. I meant to, yeah, but that's.
Virtual grads, we don't need reactive.
And then you created the web jars in 2012, and you co-authored First Steps in Flex with Bruce Eckel in 2008. And I know Bruce kind of went that way back then, It's good to see he's back in Java. And then you created the first Java hosting service in 1997. So yeah, it's really awesome to have both of you guys here. For our little quirky group, we have a nice turnout tonight. And so with that, we'll make the changeover. And you guys have heard enough of me talking, so.
Never enough.
I don't know. So what do we got to do here, Barry? I guess got to just
So I
disconnect
think,
everything?
There's nothing, you're not connected to anything, are you?
I don't know.
Oh,
You
yeah,
guys
you're
set me up here.
connected.
So.
All right, here we go. Ignore us for a minute.
Yeah. Well, I can stop sharing for the time being, right? Or maybe I'll just keep it on for the moment until
I have to think. It's not easy. What do we got on?
Oh yeah, Josh has a more recent computer than I do.
This thing isn't going to work.
You could do HDMI.
Yeah, we had a heck of a time getting this set up.
Let's just get you on the Zoom meeting.
Okay, so I will
set it up.
I'll move this out of the way. This laptop's 12 years old.
Is it? Wow.
I can't.
That's amazing.
I can't upgrade
So-
past Catalina.
Wow.
But yeah, it's still
Amazing it's lasted so long.
holding up so far.
Great.
So, what's that? Oh, yes. Oh, we'll take this off. Get this out of the way. Yes.
Is this your phone?
Oh, my glasses up there.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Those were important. All the essentials. Josh, maybe while you're getting set up, I could give my spiel.
Yeah. Okay, wait a minute. Before you give your spiel,
Oh,
where's
okay.
the mic?
Here's the mic.
Oh, it's on the, yeah, there.
And
Okay, do the spiel into the mic.
here we go. Let's get you on camera too. Oops, I don't know if you're on camera, but I guess you are.
Okay.
All right. Don't move much. You know what? I'll send you the URL if you can't find how to join a meeting.
Wet my whistle. I didn't need it anyway.
May I? Meeting ID 222. Don't put a blank space. 222-555.
Bruce Heckle taught me object-oriented programming 30 years ago.
Nice. I learned object-oriented programming
When I say
from
he taught it to
Bruce
me, I
as
read
well.
his book.
Yeah, same with me. My first real Java production application was like 5,000 lines of Java in one class. And then I read Thinking in Java, and my next version was better.
When I started with Java, I was working at JP Morgan and I was a consultant. And consultants didn't get access to the internet.
Wow.
So I would wait till my boss to go home, and the restriction for the internet was based on the physical computer. I would wait for my boss to go home, and then I would log in to his computer with my ID
Oh my gosh.
and ask my questions on the internet.
Oh, wow. Wow.
How stupid
Yeah.
was that?
How would we survive today without the internet?
Share your screen, Mike?
Oh, yes. Didn't think I was connected. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, what do you need?
I don't know.
Who's going to talk?
Both of us. At the same time,
Uh-oh.
in unison.
Oh, no.
Okay, let me give you.
Making things hard.
Let me give you both mics. Here.
Oh, this is fancy.
Here's a
Hey,
mic.
buddy.
Here's another. Okay, here you go. That's so fuzzy.
Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about AI. Are we ready? Are you gotta get this? Okay. I think the kind of background for this is that we, if you've been watching what's happening in the AI world, Python has been pretty predominant. And I think there's, it makes sense. Like a lot of the people doing the research, creating the models, they're data math people, and Python is just a natural place for them to create frameworks around AI. And so there's a number of options that you have in the Python space, and that's all fine. I think that has its place. But as the frameworks around AI have started to mature and started to be more connected into our business systems and business processes, it actually has become much more natural for them to be congruent with the technologies that we're already using within our organizations, especially where the business logic and the domain logic is being written. So as Java developers, this means we have a great opportunity right now because thanks to Spring AI and other AI technologies, I think we're really well positioned to build out the AI systems for businesses. And there's a whole lot of need for that right now in lots of different spaces. And so I think it's an exciting time to be a Java developer. We've got a number of different options. If you're in the world of Spring AI, if you want to get to higher level abstractions on top of Spring AI, Rod Johnson's created something new called Embable, which we think is the best thing there is in the AI space, even across programming languages. If you look at some of the Python ones, they're nowhere near the level of sophistication and rigor and reliability and all the things that you need to do production stuff as Embable is, and it's not even a year old or something.
No,
It's still pretty new. So lots of great things happening. There's also a great agent framework in Kotlin called Coog from JetBrains. There's LangChain for J, and that's being integrated into the EE technologies pretty well. And so we've got a lot of options. really at the end of the day, these AI systems that are being built, they're integrations. Like an LLM is just essentially an external database, right? Maybe not exactly a database, doesn't really
But the
store
protocol's
data.
easier. It's usually just REST.
Yeah, yeah, super simple interface to this like function that gives you put stuff in and it gives you stuff back. And so really it's just we're building integrations like we've kind of always done in the world of Java. And so we're in a great time, I think, for a good for Java to be really really important with the future of AI.
Yeah.
So that's my spiel on AI.
Perfectly said. And so we've got like what, an hour? 2 hours? 3? 5. Okay. We don't have a lot of time, is my understanding. I think people need to leave for work tomorrow. So look, this week's kind of you alluded to it earlier. We've got a bunch of projects right now that are being released in the Spring ecosystem because starting last week with the release of Spring Framework 7, we have a new generation, right? Starting last week, Spring Framework 7, and then culminating this the 20th. Is that Thursday? I think it's Thursday.
Thursday.
With Spring Boot 4.0. So a brand new generation, and we just got last week the new Spring AI 1.1, and there's a bunch of stuff there. So what we're going to do is do a roving tour of all that is new and that glistens and in the Spring and Spring AI worlds, starting with Spring Boot 4. Does that seem okay with you?
Let's do it.
We're going to do that, and then we'll move into Spring AI. But the problem, of course, with all these things is, what will the domain be, right? I mean, so many of us. Oh, I just realized is there like a box or something?
A what?
A box, an Apple Card.
Get you a couple of pizza boxes.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay.
How convenient we ate those pizzas.
Oh, we need one of those. Risers.
Yeah, Apple box. Yeah, because.
Are you a 2-box riser kind of guy?
Thank you, sir. I mean, aren't you cut? I'm like a full head shorter than he is, and imagine how uncomfortable it would for him. There we are. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Super good. Look at that.
You can type.
So we've got like a lot of stuff to look at, a lot of examples out there. One of the examples I think that will be most familiar for a lot of people, of course, is the old Spring Pet Clinic, and this is a sample application from yesteryear. It's a very popular sample application. It's so popular, in fact, that it's this is updated recently, but it's from like 20 years ago, right? The original one. And there's even a whole GitHub organization full of different implementations of the Spring Pet Clinic, right? And different implementations in terms of different technologies. So I like that domain. I think we both like the domain, but we don't have enough time. We don't want to talk about Kotlin and Java OQ and microservices and Istio and HTMX and React and Mustache and blah, blah, blah. We don't have nearly enough time. So instead, simplify, reduce. Less is more, So maybe we'll just stick with the domain: animals, dogs, cats, and the like. And look, we all love animals, right? We all love animals, and that's true for everybody. I mean, we all love animals, but some animals are a little spicier than others. And there's one animal about which I learned during the pandemic named Prancer. Prancer is a spicy dog, right? This dog, his owner was looking for a new home for this dog back in the pandemic, back in April 2020. Oh, you don't have an HDMI cable? Oh wait, is this Zoom for people online or is it just for this room?
No, we stream to.
It'll be both.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a pity.
Is the problem?
Well, yeah. So ironically, the one thing that Zoom is just actually terrible at is zooming.
Oh.
Right? I mean, Teams does this. And by the way, I'm not a Teams advocate. I mean, this is not a thing, okay? But nonetheless, it's just the irony that they can't zoom. Sorry? Oh, I'd be honored. I can keep the Zoom going, but it would be great if we could just computers. It's not a huge deal. It's just way more fun. Way more fun.
Josh likes to zoom.
I do. I like to zoom. Imagine if you went on a roller coaster and it was just a flat, level line. It'd be very, very disappointing.
The only roller coaster that I can handle.
Oh, I'm so excited. Computers. We got ourselves a pizza box riser. We got ourselves we're devolving back into just HDMI cables.
What was that SNL? What's her name?
Is that USB-C or USB-A?
Here's a topic. For Clinton. Rhode Island is neither a road or an island. Discuss.
it.
It's not an island, is it?
You can just, is that HDMI? You can just plug it in here.
Yeah, I'm just worried about what's in and what's out.
Oh.
Oh.
So this is gonna be.
Computers.
Yeah, who can live without them?
Or with them.
Where's the thing? Yeah, that's what I mean.
How was it? What's that? Oh, this is so exciting. Is that a VGA cable?
Oh, wow.
This
haven't
is a
seen one of
class
those in a while.
operation.
What's happening?
Wow.
That's not good.
It's on fire.
Oh man. Okay, let's try something else.
I'm scared.
Well, if we can't get it to work, we can't get it to
We can always go back to the way it was, but I just,
The Zoomless.
you know, I'm all about the future. And the future is not Zoom.
Problem is that you're using an Apple and not
Oh, it did something that time.
Yeah, it's glitching, it's re-swizzling, it's thinking. Cause wait, okay. Moment of truth.
Oh,
So much
Zoom.
better. What's it like being a legend? Bravissimo. Okay, thank you, sir.
Save the day.
Was there any doubt? Let's see. Is that going to work? That's fine, whatever. Okay, so anyway, this dog named Prancer, back in the pandemic, April 2021, this owner put out this advert to try and rehouse this dog, and she described this dog rather hilariously. She says, okay, I've tried for the last several months to post this dog for adoption and make him sound palatable. The problem is he's just not. There's not a very big market for neurotic, man-hating, animal-hating, children-hating dogs that look like gremlins. But I have to believe there's someone out there for Prancer because I am tired, and so is my family. Every day we live in the grips of the demonic Chihuahua hellscape he has created in our home. And she continues, she warns, she laments. I was excited to see him come out of his shell and become a real dog. I'm convinced at this point that he's not a real dog, but more like a vessel for a traumatized Victorian child that now haunts our home. She continues, warns ominously, Prancer wants to be your only child. And then she continues, signing off, oh, he's only 2 years old and will probably live to be 21 through pure spite, so take that into account. And of course, who wouldn't be interested in that dog? And by the way, super cute, right? I'd totally pet that dog. I'd probably lose a digit, but I would pet that dog. And I think about this dog a lot, right? This dog lives rent-free in both of our heads. And by the way, not just ours. This ad went viral. So here's People Magazine talking about Prancer, the demonic Chihuahua, cute doggo. And here's USA Today, demonic Chihuahua hellscape, meet Prancer, the puppy everyone wants after a brutally honest Facebook review. Here's BuzzFeed, we caught up with Prancer, the viral nightmare Chihuahua. We found a story of redemption. This is AI slop before we had AI slop. And then, of course, here's the New York Times, because I guess it was a slow news day or something. I don't know. So here we are, kind of close to home in every little sense. So Prancer, the demonic Chihuahua, finds a home. So this dog went viral, and this dog did indeed eventually get adopted. But that's not the case for most people. Most people have to they have to go to a shelter and then adopt them and interview the shelter and whatever. I mean, there's a lot there. So I'm thinking we could just build some software to support basically adopting animals and dogs and cats and the like. So that's what we're going to do today. That's our pretense for a little bit of fun. And we're going to go here and build our first service here on my second favorite place on the internet. Oh, I hate Zoom so much. Go away. Go. But if I put my mouse over, it'll come back. Okay. So we're going to go to my second favorite place on the internet. Obviously, my first favorite place on the internet is production. I love production. You should love production. You just go as early and often as possible. Bring the kids, bring the family. The weather's amazing. It's the happiest place on earth. It is better than Disneyland. But if you've never been to production, you can begin your journey here at start.spring.io. And what we're going to do is we're going to build a new application using the, right now, creakingly old RC2 of Spring Boot 4. Again, GA 4.0 final release comes out on Thursday. So this is a distant, creakingly old, ancient, long since past deprecated release from last week, okay? We're going to call this Adoptions. And the reason we're going to call this Adoptions is because I'm amazing with names, okay? Amazing with names. I get that from my dad. My dad was amazing with names. When I was a small boy, we had a small white dog, and my father named him White Dog, okay? Very, very good with names. Now we have a choice we have to make down here. We have a choice about what version of Java we'd like to use. Look, friends, there are 3 radio boxes, but only 1 valid choice. Okay? These other choices are never to be selected in any context whatsoever. They are here just to find out who makes terrible life decisions. Okay? You should never select these. Remember, Java 25 is technically superior in every single way. It's faster, more performant, more robust, more secure, more operations friendly, more scalable. It's technically superior in every way. It's also morally superior. You won't like the look of sadness and shame and chagrin in your children's eyes when they find out that you're using Java 8 in production. Don't do this. Be the change you want to see in the world. Do the right thing. Use at least Java 25 or later. It's also, by the way, inarguably mathematically superior. Okay? It's just a fact. Java 25 is more than 3 times greater than Java 8. Simple math. Okay? Simple math. Can't argue with that. And one of my favorite features, Java 25 has allowed us one of my all-time double Dutch favorite features ever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. Here, I'm going to type in void main. I'm going to type in IO println hi, and then write this out. Oh, you horrible thing. Go away. Oh, are you kidding? Is the way you get out of Vim also the...
Maybe.
So we found 2 things now. The key commands to escape Vim: open the 7th seal of the apocalypse, they escape Vim, and they bring back Zoom. No! Are you kidding? Am I stuck here for real? Okay, we are not doing this. Stopping share for a second. I need to exit Vim, thank you. There. It's ridiculous. Okay. Okay. And hide. There we go. So now I've got a program that I wrote. What is happening here? A program that I wrote, and it's using Java 25. And notice that it's a top-level method with no containing class. This is a method that has no outer type. It is, like me, classless. Now, this is also, I'm going to run this. If I run this, it's here, javascript.java, right? So I just ran it. I didn't compile it and then run it. I just ran it, right? And what that means is I'm using Java as a scripting language. What this means is, for the first time in human history, we have a good JavaScript. Okay? It's never been done before. It's never been done. 30 plus years of that terrible, god-awful language, and we finally have a good JavaScript. Now, can you imagine? So we have this Java 25 capability. We're going to use that, obviously, right? We have that here, and we're going to add some new. Oh my God!
Is there a way to like?
Is there a make it? Oh, it's evil.
Let's figure it out. Okay. Hide. I don't see any other options. Yeah, we can.
We've done that 4 times. It just keeps
coming back.
Yeah.
So press escape to show it. How do we? That's not gonna work.
No, because escape is super important. Like,
okay, there's got to be some setting somewhere.
it's like an escape room.
You can probably slide it mostly off screen.
Yeah.
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 No, it won't let us.
Oh well.
No, it's like you cannot go off screen.
On the bottom, it would be okay.
Oh, okay. Maybe I can make the screen bigger so that it's like
Hang on.
8,000K, and it'll just be like 2 pixels wide.
There's got to be a way.
You can't even see the settings. Oh, keyboard shortcut. Oh yeah. All right. By the way, would somebody please reset that sign? Days since it was Zoom, back to 0. General maybe.
What do you call that? Floating. Floating. There's no option
Panels?
for floating.
I recommend you let the Wookiee win.
The Wookiees won.
The Wookiee has won.
Okay, we'll just leave it as is. Oh.
I'm gonna ask the AI while
Okay,
while
thank you.
continue.
So, okay. Anywho's will be. We're going to use the latest and greatest version of Spring Boot. We're going to add some stuff in here. We're going to add GraalVM. We're going to add Postgres as a database. Actually, what I'm going to use is I'll use Postgres as our database. But we've already got that database running. I'm going to go ahead and stand that up here. So talk misc talk db, and I'll say initdb. We'll let that stand up in the background there. We're going to use Postgres as our database. We're going to use Spring Data DBC for ORM technologies. We're going to use the Spring REST client, right? So one of the nice things about what's happened in Spring Framework 7 and Spring Boot 4 is we've modularized the auto configuration. So now we have separate starters, and the code for those starters lives in those starters. So when you start up the program, there's far fewer classes on the class path for any given configuration of types, which means, first of all, that things get parsed by the JVM faster, they're loaded into memory faster, and they compile more quickly, right? And also, we have now the ability to have very clear signals about your intent. It used to be a problem, for example, that if you had Spring Boot starter web on the path, the class path, we didn't know if you wanted the REST client stuff or the web server stuff. So you got both, which is not necessarily what you want. But now we can say, hey, you want the web server, great, Spring Web, and you want the HTTP client stuff. And if you look at the behind-the-scenes configuration here, you've got Spring Boot starter web NVC, and you've got Spring Boot starter REST client. Isn't that neat? That's neat. So, okay, I think we're happy with our selections here. Let's go ahead and hit generate. Yeah, it looks okay to me. I don't know. Yeah, okay, fine. So now I'm going to open this up. I've got a new zip file in my downloads directory here, and I'm going to open this up using yet another JavaScript, a good JavaScript, not the terrible one. So this is aliased to Josh env bin unzip and open. So I'm just going to do, guess what it does? Can you guess? It unzips and opens, okay? And we're going to connect to that database, which I've established is running in the background there. So first things first, we're going to set up the credentials and all that stuff. Spring data source, JDBC, Postgres, localhost. Now, obviously, you would never do this in production. You'd surely just have an environment variable or something, but hey, YOLO. Okay, password equals secret, and voila. So now I've got this. I'm going to click on the little button, let IntelliJ, click test, click apply, go over here, and go over there, and I've got this, and go over here. We've got tables, and there we've got our table full of dogs. Okay, and what we want to do is to support adopting dogs. We've got this table full of dogs, and there is our buddy Prancer, whose ID is 45. His name is Prancer, and he's described as a demonic, neurotic, man-hating, animal-hating, children-hating dog that looks like a gremlin, and rather surprisingly, no owner. Okay, so we're going to sort of see if we can fix that. Let's go ahead and start the work here. We're going to go here and build a simple Spring application, and I'll build a controller here, right? I'll say a class adoptions controller at response body. And what we're going to do is we're going to need to talk to the database to make this work. So I'll build a domain model. I'll build a record here. I'm using Java records. How many of you are using Java records? I love Java records. Huge fan. Big fan, right? So much better, okay? And then we're going to say interface dog repository, ending a list of CRUD repository, and voila. And you can already see the first big change. Did you find anything?
No.
Oh, cursed.
It's like not possible.
Oh, that's terrible.
I know.
If if somebody's gonna vibe code some crappy application, please let it be. Please, let's disrupt Zoom. Please. It's terrible. Just not good. All right, so first things first. You can already see the first like big thing, right? This is yellow, and the reason it's yellow is because we have this new thing called JSpecify, right? JSpecify are a set of common annotations that the Spring team, Google, and JetBrains, both the IntelliJ IDEA folks and the Kotlin folks, collaborated on, along with a number of other people, to define de facto null restrictions annotations for Java. Now, this already exists in Kotlin and in other languages, but it hasn't arrived in Java. There's hope, fingers crossed, that it'll one day arrive with Valhalla, Project Valhalla, in the hopefully not too distant future. In the meantime, though, we wanted some way to have that right now, right here. So we decorated the entire Spring portfolio with these annotations, and now you will know when you're using a null, when you're passing a reference to a thing that is not expecting a null. And you have to confirm you understand that by, for example, annotating these with non-null. Now, right now, they're just warnings, but if you have it's Google, they have a, I think it's Google, they have a plugin called Null Away, okay? You configure that, and those warnings become errors that'll stop the build if you try and pass a null reference to a place where it's not appropriate, okay? So that's already a nice improvement. Now let's create this endpoint here to adopt int dog ID. We're going to pass in the new owner, and in order to do that, we're going to inject the dog repository, add that to the constructor, and we'll say this return this dot dog repository, this dot dog repository, okay, dot find by ID. If the dog exists, we're going to update it, right? So if exists, hello Josh, come on, if present dog, and now we're going to update it, right? So we're going to say var updated equals new dog, passing in the ID, dog.name, dog.owner, and dog.description. But the owner, of course, will come from the update there, and then we'll finally persist all that. So dog repository.save, and here we go. So now I'm going to say io.println adopted updated. Okay, there's this. I'm going to make this a simple HTTP controller. So I'll say at post mapping animals, I guess, animal ID. Okay, we can say animal ID and adoptions. Yeah, and here we are. Put that over there. Animal ID. Good. So there's my simple controller. Let's just see if that's worked. Huh? So we'll restart the application. Go to the console here. HTTP 8080. Animals 45 adoptions. Owner is equal to Josh, and it's a post, obviously. So I'll say as much. Here we are. Yeah, but what did I do? Oh, animal ID. And oh, I've got to specify how to map these. Yeah, request param. Okay. Post. There we go. And go back here, and you can see it says we've adopted Prancer. His name is Prancer. His new owner is Josh, and he's described as a demonic, neurotic, man-hating, animal-hating, children-hating dog that looks like a gremlin. There's our dog. Fine, it's worked, right? So that's all well and good. That wasn't too bad, but what else can we do while we're here, right? We've got knowability. We've got easy sort of iteration and speed of movement here. Obviously, a lot of this stuff you'll have seen before. What about cats, right? Let's suppose we went over here and built a endpoint for cats, yeah? So I'm going to go over here and I'll create a new cats configuration class. Get rid of that. We don't want that to be public. And here I might want to have an HTTP endpoint that gives me information about cats that I shall derive from an open web endpoint called HTTPS www.catfacts.net API. Now, hopefully, this is not afflicted by the Cloudflare problems. Oh, nope, seems okay. Okay, so I'm going to create a client. Now, I could create this client, manually. I could use the Spring Framework REST client and all that. That's one of the things that comes in by association with that starter that I showed you earlier. But one of the things that we introduced in Spring Framework 6 a few years ago was the ability to annotate a interface and to have it generate a client for you. So I'm going to create a client here, record cat fact, and it'll be a collection of cat fact, singular, right, facts, and record cat fact, string fact, okay? And then we say cat facts. There we go. So there's my simple thing. What's new in Spring Framework 7 is we've made it so you can just very easily stand up that HTTP client like so, okay, et voila. Much better. So now I can build a controller using that newly minted cat facts client. Add that to the constructor here. We'll open this up. We'll say git mapping, okay, and we'll say cats, and it'll be a collection of cat facts client dot facts. Makes perfect sense, okay? So let's see what that looks like. Whoop, whoop. Here we are. Localhost facts, cats, something. No, what did I call it? I did call it cats, right? Get exchange, cat facts client, no endpoint 8080, cat facts client, get exchange. Does that work, or did I have to have the /? No, that works. Oh, it's this actually. Let's try that. Okay, localhost 404.
Not found.
Is it the target directory? We've hit this issue with caching, and I do not like it. I do not like it, not one bit. No, 404. This is the controller, constructor, get mapping, /cats. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Wait, what if I just do that? I mean, why would that matter? I don't know. So what is the port? Oh yeah, 8080. Cat. Wait, did I put this in another? Oh, it's. Yeah. Sorry, everybody. Here.
It wasn't finding your config?
No, I put it in underneath the root package. Of course, it wasn't finding it.
Ah.
This is why I needed more cola and pizza. I do my best thinking that way. All right, so I've got this simple HTML endpoint, and I've gotten the cat facts. Everything is fine, don't worry. So we've got information about the cats, and that's all well and good. But sometimes, as things are wont to do, like today with the Cloudflare outage, things will fail. And so you want to make sure that you have the ability to recover or at least retry. Sometimes they're ephemeral, sometimes they're more enduring, like the errors we had today. Spring Framework has resilient methods, right? This is a new thing. And so one of the things we borrowed from the Spring from the Spring Retry project is @retryable. So I'm going to say includes an exception. So I'm going to have a counter here. I'll say private final atomic integer counter. Okay, make it 0. And I'm going to say if this .counter is less than 4, then throw this new exception. So throw new illegal state exception. And then otherwise, and we're going to just print it out, io.println, oops, and then here we'll say facts and we'll return the final thing. Okay, so I'm going to simulate an error 4 times. So I'm going to say illegal state exception class, and I'll retry for as many times as 4 times. Okay, there we go. So now I go here. You can see on the console it says oops, 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 and eventually we get the facts, right? So it retried that 4 different times until we finally arrived at a result. That's also very nice. There's another annotation that's enabled in this new package, this new scheme called concurrency limit. And the idea here is, suppose you have some downstream service that you don't want to risk saturating, right? Something that will fall over at a gust of wind, right? Something like anything in PHP ever, right? For example. So I can protect that terrible service downstream by using @concurrency limit. Okay, this will limit the number of concurrent threads that are allowed to access this method to 10 at a time. So I can't really demonstrate it here without doing some very complex load balancing and all that, but you get the idea. Okay. By the way, speaking of load balancing, make sure you're taking advantage of virtual threads here. This is not a new thing, but it's always very good to do that. Okay. So now I've got resilient methods. We have the declarative clients. We have the nullability. We have the modularization. Oh, the other thing is, so far I've been doing all this work. I've been using @controller, and I think in the other application, no, over here, did I register anything with a bean? I did not. Well, in Spring, you have 2 different ways to register objects. You can either annotate them with @component, right, or any annotation that implements @component. So, for example, if I put @component on this, @component is it's a marker annotation. Other annotations like @controller are also @component. They have @component in their definition. Spring discovers anything with that meta annotation, that is to say an annotation that contains @component, or anything transitively that has it, and it marks them for inclusion and management by the framework, right? So it just figures out how to construct an instance of this to resolve the dependencies unambiguously, and so on. This all works just fine, and this is very implicit. Explicitly, however, you can also do things differently. You can say, let's say I want to say my application runner. Okay, this is just a Spring bean that I'll annotate here, and I'm going to have Spring. I want Spring to run this when the application starts up. I can explicitly wire this up here. I can say my application runner, and then return a new instance of this. And this is also going to work just fine. So if I restart the application, you'll see it prints out hi, right? Now, which one is better for you? It's up to you, right? This is explicit, and the other one's implicit. This is better if you are working with your own source code. This one I tend to find is more useful if I'm working with somebody else's libraries and types in a jar. That said, how do you dynamically register more instances of this bean? Let's say I have multiple beans for different sessions or different kinds of things in the shopping cart. There is no easy way to do that at this low level because you're using Java methods. So we've introduced a new configuration model called a bean registrar, right? My bean registrar implements bean registrar, okay? And you can now register bean. I can register my application runner. This is equivalent to what I showed you before with the implicit configuration. So you just import that like you would any other Java configuration here. Okay, run that. Here we go. So now we should see it print out twice, right? Because I've registered it implicitly here and explicitly here. I can also, let's say I drop this one here. I can also exert more control over how it gets run. I can say register bean and then do my application.runner.class and provide the specification, right? So spec.supplier, new function, Java 8 for the win. Here we are. Okay, new my application runner. So now I have control over the actual registration of the bean and how they're created and all that, but it's still programmatic. Remember, I'm doing this inside of a method, so I can do for loops, I can do while, I can do all the flow control things you would expect inside of the body of a method to programmatically register as many or as few instances as I want. So this has been a very brief overview of some of the nice features in Spring Framework 4 and Spring Boot 4 and Spring Framework 7. There's a whole lot to add around multi-factor auth and one-time tokens and passkeys and so on in Spring Security, but we've done the job. We've done what we set out to do here. We've found a way to adopt the dog. All we have to do is know the ID, and we have to know the ID. We have to know the dog that we want to adopt. But again, how do you find that dog in the first place, right? Most people don't find out about their dogs by watching the news. This is a terrible idea. Most people go to a shelter, as we said, and interview their shelter for help on finding their dog. So what we want to do is build an assistant powered by AI to help us with that. Now, we have some decisions to undertake. First and foremost of which is, what model do we use?
Yeah, so the architecture of how we're going to build this AI assistant is we need an LLM. The LLM is the way that we're going to be able to have a conversation with an AI, and we're going to give it some data, we're going to give it some tools it has access to, but we need that actual LLM model. And then we also need another LLM model to do what's called embeddings, and we'll get into what those are used for in a little bit. But we need some way to take a block of text and turn it into the LLM kind of vector representation of that thing. So we need two different models for what we're going to build, and we're using Bedrock for this. Spring AI has support for lots of different model providers. Bedrock is the one on AWS. It has, let's go to Bedrock, 249 models as of today, I think.
Really? Oh, it keeps growing.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
249. So lots of different models that are hosted. You use them on demand. They run in your account so that your data is not leaving your account, not going off to a model provider. So that's different than if you use like OpenAI directly or Claude AI, like that data is going to then go up to them, whereas on AWS, this data stays in your space. But you can use the Claude models. Those are one of the options here in this long list. Is somewhere in here is Claude.
You got OpenAI, you got
Nvidia. It's under Anthropic. Anthropic is the Claude models. There's the DeepSeek models. There's the OpenAI models. So all sorts of different models that you can choose from. So we've already set Josh's laptop up to be able to talk to AWS, and we'll set up the configuration in Spring AI in a little bit. They'll pick the actual model that we're going to use for those two different things. So that's how we're going to use the LLM. Super easy to just pick a model and go with Spring AI, but yeah, lots of different options that you have available.
So it's like Bedrock. Bedrock, I think, is kind of like, is it fair to say it's like an API through which I can route requests, and then it'll in turn forward it to one of these models?
Yep.
So I can change AI horses midstream, basically, even if I've written the code against Bedrock today and I'm using OpenAI behind the scenes.
It's just configuration. So yeah, so you can specify like, okay, or for this request I want to use the Claude model, and for the next request I want to use the GPT OSS model. So you can pick.
Okay, should we try?
Yeah, let's build our adoption thing.
Oh yeah, okay, back to the old lab again.
So we're going to build a adoptions chat client, right?
Yes, sir.
So we need some dependencies here. So there's the Bedrock dependencies. There's one which is just labeled Amazon Bedrock. That's going to be used for the embeddings, and then the Amazon Bedrock Converse one is going to be used for the chat model. So we need both of those. We're bringing in Spring Web. You've seen that already. We're bringing in Spring Data JDBC. We need
a
database. So when we do our embedding, we'll talk about the architecture in a little bit, but we are going to take some strings, vectorize them, and we want to store those vectors into a vector database. There's lots of different options that are available in Spring AI. We're using one that's based on Postgres called PG Vector. It's really just an extension of Postgres that allows us to store vectors and then search across those vectors. So you got your PG Vector. We're using, we're going to use MCP to be able to have our assistant reach out to other systems. We'll talk about the architecture for that. Chat memory, you got
actuator.
And actuator.
Okay.
I think that's all the things.
It's all the things. Okay, let's go. Sorry? We're sticking with 1.1 is on 3 to 5x, but 2.0 snapshots in theory. If we, like just today they merged it, that's working on 4.0, but we're not. Like we've had a long day. We've had a very long day.
We're minimizing risk.
Right? Yeah, a little less risk is better, you know. Okay, assistant, yeah. So first things first, we got to connect. You said it's the only configuration. We should do some of that, I think.
Yep, you have the configuration already. We're only going to copy and paste like 2 times tonight. This is one of them. We need some configuration, and there's a bunch of different configuration that we're putting in here. So let's go through a few of the interesting ones. One, which model are we using for chat? We're going to use the Amazon Nova Lite model, and then we're enabling. I don't think we even need the chat enabled anymore, but I don't know. Let's just leave it. Let's reduce risk. I think we could potentially prune that one out. We need to tell it which embedding model we're going to use. We're going to use what's called the Cohere model on Bedrock. We do need to align the embedding model number of dimensions to the PG vector number.
The size of the array.
The size of the array. And so that's 1024, so we have to hit that.
Naturally.
And then for PG vector, we're going to have it automatically initialize the place that we're going to store our vectors. So that's set there. You can connect to that database. We're going to initialize our chat memory schema.
Come back to that.
So we're just like do all the things for us. This is just for fun. Virtual threads you've already seen, and then actuator we'll get to, and then connect to our database to store our dogs that are going to be adopted.
Yeah.
So that was all the configuration that we did, and we're going to step through all those different pieces individually here. But
bear in mind, we don't have a lot of time. We've got like 25 minutes, right?
Oh, let's fly.
Okay, let's see how close we can get to it.
So we, the first thing we want to do is, like you've seen before, we're going to have a REST controller that's going to allow us to have a conversation with the LLM. To do this, we need to set up the REST GET mapping, right? Just like you've seen before. But we want the path of this to be able to get a username. The reason why we want to get a username is because we eventually want to get to the point where I'm having a conversation with the LLM and can, it's conversational and it knows about things. We'll get there. But we're parameterizing that get mapping with a username so we can get the user. And then we need to set up a chat client. The chat client is a Spring AI interface essentially to the LLM. And that's the one that is agnostic to the actual model and provider. So you can use that with Cloud. You can use it with OpenAI, all sorts of different vendors.
The best people worked on this.
Good job, Josh.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, so we build our chat client, and then we wire it up like 4 lines of code. Really, that could be 1 line, but we're going to go to that chat client. We're going to send it a prompt that sends a request to the LLM on Bedrock, and then gets a response back from the LLM and returns that in the HTTP response. So this is just our super simple way to test that we have connectivity to that LLM. And oh, I'm asking a question tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, my kids would be stoked to adopt a dog, especially Prancer.
All right, so we got a dial tone. Looks like it's working.
So okay,
right.
So that, just real quick to recap, that question that we put in there, that went to the LLM, and the LLM responded with what we saw in the HTTP response.
Too quick, actually. By the way,
too quick.
One of the reasons I'm a huge fan of Bedrock is it is so fast. Right? We have virtual threads to wipe away the sin of slow response time, but it's less so. I mean, it's like it's markedly perceptible. We have, even with trivial amounts of data, the embeddings, for example, just always blows me away. We've been doing this demo for what, a better part of a year now, and it's just like, oh, it's so much faster. It's so much faster.
And that one was just a request response.
Right.
We can also return a stream, and then and when you use a typical chat client, you see it like streaming the words out. So we could turn on streaming as well, but we're going to keep it as just a basic response at this point.
Yep. Okay. Content. So that seems to have worked, but it seems like we're connected. Should we just like establish everything's fine? Make sure.
Let's try some things.
I'm sure it's fine, but trust but verify. So what's my name?
So it no longer knows what I just told it. It's forgotten me already, and I know, it's so sad. And so, so this is where the LLM actually, there's no state. It just is. You can think of it as almost like a math equation with lots of parameters. And so, so there's no state. We call it with some inputs. And so, in order to give this chat conversation memory, we have to add memory into the system. We do that by setting up first what's going to connect into that chat conversation is going to be an advisor. In Spring AI, advisors are like interceptors. So when a request is going to the LLM, we can intercept that and then do whatever we want to manipulate what actually goes to the LLM. And then we can also manipulate what comes back out of the LLM. So what the prompt memory advisor does is it keeps track of the conversation. And in this case, we're using a backing store of Postgres. So it's persisting that into the Postgres database that we have. We didn't explicitly say Postgres because we use PG Vector, but PG Vector is built on top of Postgres. So we can see Josh cleaning up his tables. But once we reload this, we will be able to see there's the Spring AI chat memory. Right now we have no memory. So if we go and ask it a question, or we can say, my name is James, what's my name? And now this is going to be 4 messages in that chat memory. You love that zoom. So you can see the message. First one is a user message. That's the one I sent to the LLM. And then the response that I get back is called an assistant message. So so we had both of those pieces of the conversation, but then it remembered me. Great, we've got memory.
Now, the question is, of course, is how does it, right now, if you look at the memory, it's not correlated to a particular user. So what I'm going to do is also add a correlation ID here. So advisors a.param chat memory dot conversation ID, passing in the user, reload. I'll delete. You'll see me delete from this memory a lot just so it doesn't cheat and look at its own answers, you know. So it's not going to know this time, right? So now we say, my name is James. What's my name? Hello, James, right? Okay, great. So we go back over here, and now it's correlated to the conversation called James, right? Obviously, you can imagine using Spring Security and injecting the principal and all that. Now, okay, this seems good, but we've got no, like, I could ask it for help writing my next Java program, or asking it help for like my history homework.
Code assistant.
Right. So that's not good. It's not focused. Remember, we're meant to be helping people find the dog of their dreams, or you know.
Yeah, we want to give this thing. This is called an agent. We're building an AI agent, and so we want to give this agent a purpose. Agents in life and in AI, you always have a purpose that this agent, something that it's trying to accomplish or help the user with. And so you've got a prompt that is set up for our dog adoption service.
Right, I do happen to have one. I will just take it and put it in the clipboard buffer, and it'll wait. Sorry, I'm sorry, this is wrong. Hold on. Much better. Okay. Copy and
Dog
paste
that file, man.
Absolutely. Okay, go over here. var system.
So the system prompt is the natural language way to specify to this agent what its purpose is. So we put that in there. I don't know. Do you want to read what our...
So you are an AI-powered assistant to help people adopt a dog from the adoption agency named Pooch Palace, with locations in Antwerp, Seoul, Tokyo, Singapore, Paris, Mumbai, New Delhi, Barcelona, San Francisco, and London. Information about the dogs available will be presented below. If there's no information, then return a polite response suggesting we don't have any dogs available. Did I say Antwerp?
That was a month ago.
I meant, where the hell are we?
Madison?
Madison. I meant Madison.
Where the hell are we?
7 Acre Woods, man. I don't know where we are. I just saw trees for miles and miles. Okay. I know. Oh, boy. Oh.
Okay, so he did add on to that. I don't know if you saw it, but he added on to the chat client. He configured the system prompt there. Go.
So, hey, easy. Okay. Do you have any?
Okay, so now we're going to test to see if our agent knows about what its purpose is, helping us find a dog to adopt.
Right. Okay.
And so it's now acting like what it's supposed to.
Right.
But it doesn't know about our dogs yet. We've got our database of dogs. Did you show the dogs?
We talked about our buddy Prancer.
Let those dogs out, man.
Who will have let the dogs out? So here's Prancer. It doesn't know about the dogs, so we need to integrate it, and that's a pattern called RAG, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah, we gotta disown that thing.
I can't let go of good dogs.
Okay, we're gonna set up a pattern in AI agents called RAG. RAG is a pattern that we use to inject data into the prompt, but we want to inject the right data, not just like our whole database. Like that doesn't work. It would use a lot of tokens, and Tokens are expensive. They're not like that expensive, but we don't want to just waste them. You know, you can think of tokens. You go to like a carnival. You just want to be a little careful with your tokens, you know. So, so we're going to only inject the bit of data that we want. And so, in order to do this, what we need to do is set up the embeddings. And so, the embeddings, what we need to do is take our dogs. We need to get them into vectors. And the reason we need to get them into vectors is because we're going to take a prompt from the user, like, do you have any neurotic dogs? And we're going to vectorize that prompt that comes in. And then we're going to do a similarity search using vectors. These are LLM-based vectors on how close the prompt is to the dogs. And that includes their name and their description. I think Josh has already probably set up. Have you set up the document yet? Not yet.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, this is where we do the vectorization with that creating the document. So we put in the name and the description. So when we create that document, we go out to the LLM, but the embedding one, it's a special LLM that can turn that string into vectors. And then we store those vectors into PG Vector. And so those get stored in a column in our PG Vector database. And then, so we did that vectorization. Usually you're going to do this like as part of your update and create pipeline. Like we're just, you know, cheating here. But usually, you know, you get to create an update is when you're going to create or update your vectors. So, okay, so we got our vectors. So we got them in our data store.
The code looks pretty good. I just realized something though. This is a document about dogs, so I shall call it a document. Much better.
Of course, the document.
So now, so we've configured the question answer advisor, which is going to do what he just said. It's going to vectorize the prompt from us, and then use that to find other things that are in the vector store that match.
Yep.
And then send that sub-selection back to the model for further analysis, and it's going to weigh in, given our question and the documents that we've given it, on what the right answer should be. Is that
so we're augmenting the prompt that we send to the LLM with this additional data that matched on that similarity search with our vectorized data. And so that all just gets managed for us with the question answer advisor. So of course, Spring AI has built-in support for this pattern called RAG, and that's how we implement it, is with the question answer advisor. So we're hooked into an interceptor in the chat client.
right? And we got the response back. It says, hey, we have a dog that matches the description of being neurotic. Prancer, dog with ID 45, is described as demonic, neurotic, man hating, animal hating, children hating. And anyway, good response, but it's a whole paragraph of text, and I can't really build an abstraction upon another paragraph of text. If I want to correlate that to records in the database and the system, I need types, right? You and I are all about strongly typed, not stringly typed, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
So we're going to go over here, and you know, we could do this. We could say dog adoption suggestion int ID string.
So often in a larger agentic system, there's going to be parts of the system that you actually are moving like structured data around. And even with an LLM, giving the LLM structured data, getting structured data back out of the LLM. And there's going to be other places where it's natural language. And so in the parts where you want to move data, actual structured data in and out, you can choose, as Josh is showing, to instead get have the LLM get us the right record, but get it into JSON. Well, we actually got it into JSON, converted it into an object, and then serialized it back out as JSON, which is kind of silly here, but just as an example of how you can do structured data in and out.
Yeah, we can actually, like, ID is an int in the language of my choice, right? Like, it's nice. So in our case, we do actually want the string back, so let's revert that change. But it's just nice to know that if you want to, like, have a terminal record out, output or whatever, then you can. Okay. So okay, that's pretty good. I think we found our doggo. The natural next step. Any red-blooded human being is going to naturally want to adopt that dog.
Absolutely.
When?
Yeah. So we need to be able to schedule a time to go and pick up our adopted dog that we love, Prancer, ideally. And so to do this, there's a pattern with AI systems called tool calling. And tool calling allows us to tell the LLM, here are the business processes, here are the tools that you have available to help you achieve your goal. And so what we can do is define those tools, and we're doing it just in line here. We'll show you the inline example first, where we don't have like an actual scheduling system that we're hooking up to, so we're faking it and saying, hey, you can adopt it 3 days from now. So Josh has that plus 3 days code. And so this schedule function is going to become a tool available to the LLM. We have to give it a description, because the reason how the LLM is going to decide when to call this tool is based on that description. So every time you provide some tools to the LLM, it's going to look at all those tools and be like, okay, the user is asking to schedule to pick up Prancer. That matches with this tool. And so now I know to tell it to call this tool. And so what technically happens in the LLM is the LLM, we give it the list of tools, we give it the user prompt, it responds and says, I need you, which is the agent, the like Java code side of things, not the LLM. The LLM says, I need you to actually call a tool. So in my agent process, it's going to then invoke that schedule function. There's also the parameters, those get filled in by the LLM. So there's a protocol that tells it like how to actually fill those parameters in. So it fills it in with the data that it knows. And then, where are we at? Am I way behind you?
No, you're
type faster than I talk. So that's how we do tool calling. And so this could be any business process. It can be get me some additional data. It could be update these records. And we're doing this all without security. You certainly in a real production system are going to want to propagate user identity through like the whole call chain. So when you get into the tool call, you actually like know who the user is, and it's not the LLM hallucinating something that they shouldn't be able to do. So
this to me is like, well, first of all, it worked. You saw I printed out scheduling blah, and it printed that out. So that means that it decided to take action on behalf of the user. It has agency, like it's able to do things. And we give it access to our business logic here, right?
Yeah.
Super important. First of all, you mentioned this before, but it's super important. Cannot overstress how important it is to be very clear about how you describe these tools, because that is the schema. You might remember the bad old days of SOA and WSDL. Now it's the human language prose that you put in there. So when your mom told you when you were young to use your words, what she was saying was to clearly document your AI inputs. It's obvious to us, okay? And so that's what we're doing here. We're documenting the AI inputs. But the language, the AI is able to figure out what to make of that, right? So much of the morass of complexity that we associate with the integration with different systems in the bad old days of SOA 25 odd years ago is gone now. We have super intelligent AI that's able to do this stuff instead. It just says, oh, looks like I need that, I'll call that, right? And this is, remember, remember that MIT study?
Yeah,
when was
95% of AI projects fail, and I think it's because they're not integrating to their business logic and business processes very well. And
because they're trying to reinvent it in Python, which is a terrible idea,
Yeah. So, again, we're in a great place because the business logic and business domain objects and all that kind of stuff is generally in Java. And so, great, let's expose parts of our business domain as tools for the LLMs to be able to use.
Now, this is, what if, Dave? Now, just hear me out. What if somebody wanted to reuse this business logic outside of the context?
Yeah, so right now we've got it right inside of essentially our agent. Like we've built an AI agent, we put the tool right in line with that agent. It's going to run in the same process, and that's totally viable. But there may be reasons why we actually want to like microservicify this thing. And so there is a protocol to take that tool, move it out to an external service. This is called MCP, the Model Context Protocol. It's almost 1 year old. This stuff is all moving super fast.
It came out in November. Do you remember November? I don't.
Lots changed since November, last November. So MCP gives us a protocol, a standard protocol, to be able to expose tools as servers and then be able to integrate those tools into our LLM. So it's now a wire protocol that we're going to use instead of that in-memory local one. So Josh, you've already created a new project as an MCP server.
Yes, sir.
So we did have to change a couple things here. There is a way that we could actually reuse those annotations, but when we're in the world of MCP, it's nice to have the MCP annotation. So we got an MCP tool, and we got an MCP arg. Otherwise, it looks the exact same, except for now we're starting up a server. So this starts up a new MCP server, and you're running that one on port 8081, right?
8082, I think.
Oh, okay. You went big this time. Okay, 8082. So this is a tool called the MCP Inspector. It's just a debugging tool for MCP servers. And so we can point it at an MCP server and then see what's going on with it. Josh went to tools, listed the tools. We see a schedule tool, and then we see the input parameters that are required to call that tool. So that's essentially what our 45 is Prancer. Oh, we don't want to adopt Prancer yet?
No.
Or is Prancer already adopted?
Well, just got the schedule for him, that's all. Anyway, that's 42. So the point is we can run it from there, but that looks like REST. That's not the interesting thing. Is It's the fact that the AI model can speak to that. So I guess we need to go back and change our agent.
Yeah, so now on the agent side, now we can point it at that MCP server, and it's going to see the same information just semantically and provide that information to the LM, just like it did before, but now using that remote protocol. And so you could have lots of different MCP servers. A lot of vendors now have MCP servers, so you can integrate with those MCP servers. There's thousands of open source MCP servers out there, so it's now this vast ecosystem that you can integrate into your agent. So pretty straightforward to integrate that MCP server into our agent and replace that local tool calling. What we're going to do is inject this thing, the MCP sync tool callback provider. That's a lot of words, but that's going to give us the. Oh, did we not add the client?
I don't know. Looks like we did.
Oh, we did. Okay. What was wrong?
I want a refund. Wait, we're using 1.0, 1.1. Wait, MCP, is it sync? It is sync.
It does start with sync.
Oh,
there's
obviously.
Tricky. Sync MCP. There we go. That's the one. Okay, so we're injecting in essentially this handle to the MCP servers that we want to connect to, and then we're updating our chat client to have those tool callbacks, they're called. We left it called, oh yeah, I guess it's technically a scheduler.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, and did you do the config already?
I did in the property file.
Oh, super quick. You're so fast. Okay, so we set the URL to that MCP server there in config, and now it should work just like it did before, but now using a remote MCP call.
Don't want it to cheat.
Oh yeah, clear that memory. Neurotic dogs. Prancer.
Prancer, okay.
Let's adopt that adorable thing.
20/11/22, that's okay.
So great, so we got a date 3 days in the future, but to verify, we should see that sure enough down on our remote MCP server, we see the login that shows that, yep, we're adopting Prancer ID 45.
Super neat.
So great, so now we have our kind of end-to-end, we've got our chat memory, we've got our RAG, we've got our system prompt, we've got our MCP integration, and we built like an AI agent.
And we still have 5 minutes to go. So let's talk about the next steps here, right? We built this in no time at all, and we're idiots. Imagine what you could do, okay? That's the first thing to remember. Imagine that. The first thing is that. Second thing is we're using MCP. MCP is it's a specification in flux. Is that fair?
Yeah.
There's a tumult, okay? That said, it's going in the right direction. One of the things they're hammering out right now is security. We, of course, on the Spring team and working in collaboration with our friends over at AWS, have really made huge strides on that. We in the Spring team, when this MCP specification was announced by Anthropic last November, we were among the very first in the world to implement it, right? So we built the first SDK for Java, and it is now the de facto, it is the official MCP SDK for Java. We donated our code to that effort, and then we rebased our Spring AI support for it on top of that newly developed, newly minted SDK. So we're working along with our friends over at Amazon to make this a much better story for people for things like security. But this release, the one we're using right now, 1.1, is already a huge leap forward compared to what it was just 6 months ago, right? Because we got streamable MCP. What is something?
Yeah, so when MCP was first announced, it used for the remote protocol, it used something called server sent events as it was this weird protocol where you would send a post request to one endpoint. Actually, you would first do a GET request to an endpoint. That would open up a streamable or a server sent event stream back to you, and then you would send post events to another endpoint. Turns out that's really hard to scale horizontally, so they've updated the transport to now have another option, which is a more basic request response model. You can still do the streaming, and there's some use cases for that, but so there's a new protocol, streamable HTTP. So that just went live in Spring AI with the 1.1 release last Thursday. So pretty exciting, rapid innovation happening on all sorts of different fronts. There's a bunch of new features in MCP that were added also in this release. One is called elicitations, which allows an MCP server to do a human in a loop kind of trigger back to the agent to ask the user for more information. And then there's, all sorts of other stuff. So
yeah, we've also, so we built this, most of this is one shot, right? And it's pretty okay to get you ask a question, you get an answer, one shot, prompting. And sometimes you get good results. Not often though. And I don't think our friend Rod, he put it thusly: if you interact with a model and you get the right response on the first try 9 out of 10 times, that's still just 90. That's just one nine
of reliability,
right? And if you're an enterprise, you don't build. I mean, when was the last time you would accept 1.9 of availability from your databases or your email carriers or anything, right? You wouldn't sign a contract with that. Why are we okay with that with AI? And so one of the other reasons people are having trouble taking these things successfully to production is because they don't feel like they can trust them yet. So there are ways to distill complex tasks into sort of steps in a workflow, and then use the AI models to sort of accrete more and more context so that you arrive at the right final solution by staying in guardrails. That is the province and the realm of agentic frameworks, like
So I think I mentioned in Babel, Rod Johnson's new project. It's built on top of Spring AI, but provides that like orchestration layer that's beyond just the chat client. The chat client is like almost a primitive of talking to LLMs, and Babel is like, okay, now I need to build a large agentic complex system, and I need it to be as deterministic as possible, which is hard to do because LLMs are intentionally non-deterministic. And so how do we actually assemble deterministic workflows on top of non-deterministic pieces underneath them? And that's what Rod's tackling with in Babel. So we won't go into details on that tonight, but
it is, you should read his
exciting.
blogs.
Oh yeah, just read Rod's blogs, and he has got some great talks from DevOps a couple weeks ago. So yeah, some great information if you want to like go beyond the easy stuff into the more advanced realm.
And to be fair, this is already useful. You can do a lot of cool things with just this, but I don't want you to think this is the end of it, right? This is not what the hype is about. The hype is about taking this stuff to production. We also did a talk at DevOps with Dr. Mark Pollack, co-founder a founder originally of Spring AI, who lives, by the by, just 1,000 years away from you here in New York City. He and I and you and Kristen Soloff, we did a talk, and in the last 15 minutes of that talk, I definitely recommend you just skip right ahead to that.
Just skip our part.
You've already seen it. Yeah. No, really, it's fine. It's fine. I wouldn't even watch my own part, and I was there. No, you would watch his last 15 minutes. He does a whole soliloquy on this new thing upon which the Spring AI team are working, is agent client. Basically, how do you orchestrate, how do you manipulate, how do you deploy these coding assistants, these CLIs, in a way to result in better work? And it's phenomenal. It's like 15 minutes on the dot. It's an amazing.
He also talks about evaluation. So one of the other hard parts in the space right now is like how do you determine that your LLM, your model, your tools, all that stuff is kind of coming together and producing the results that you expect. So we use benchmarks and evaluations to do that. And he's working on
with JetBrains.
Yeah, with JetBrains on some ways to have better evaluations.
Because the famous SWE bench, the software engineering benchmark, it's based on a whole bunch of Python tasks from years ago. So all the models have learned the test at this point, and it's based in Python. So as soon as you try and get the same benchmark, the same harness, same test suite to work in Java, that goes from 70% utility time to like 10 or whatever. That's not a valid test, right? It's lying. So we can't trust this. And so he's we're working on democratizing that world.
Oh, did you want to show Actuator real quick?
Oh yeah. By the way, one thing you want to be aware of is your token consumption. We did mention that. You talked about that when you talked about RAG. I've got here in the Spring Boot over here in my assistant. Got too many moving parts here. We've got this exported for visibility. Don't do this in production, okay? It's just so that we can see everything. Whoa, hey, come back. It's just so that we can see everything here. Localhost 8081 /
So usually you're going to export these metrics out to your observability platform, but we have the web endpoint that is an easy way to demonstrate the observability data that we have access to within Spring. This is all provided through Actuator, and so we can dive into the actual data and see that our current token count, the model that we're using, all the data about our actual usage of the LLM.
Powered by Micrometer, and you can use that to emit your metrics to Amazon's metrics, CloudWatch, and any number of other time series databases and distributed tracing systems.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good job,
Did
my
we miss
friend.
anything else?
I don't care.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Can we get a selfie? Can we get a selfie? You got a camera on us. I think it's only fair we get a camera on you. let's get a selfie, and I'm so grateful for you all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretend like you're happy, okay? Just pretend. Okay, here it is. Okay, ready?
Oh, should
Steady.
we stand in front of the screen? Should I block it with
Yeah.
my head?
Yeah. Okay, ready?
Oh, is that blocking all the audience?
Oh, that's so sad. We can't do that. What? Oh, thank you, everybody. Happy holidays. Thanks very much. We'll take questions. I have one though. Who learned something new?
Yeah.
Who had fun? All right, great. Thank you.
So, no questions on YouTube. Any questions?
Yeah, I don't know. If you have a question, just remember to speak up so we can get YouTube.
Yeah, one question. I mean, is it possible to have like a custom authentication when calling MCP server?
Yes. So because MCP uses HTTP as the transport, you can really do whatever you want. You can put anything in the HTTP headers, and the downside is that if you don't control the client and the server for MCP, then you may be doing something that your client is not going to do, right? So if you want to publish a public MCP server and you're doing something weird for auth, then like no clients are going to be able to actually do that. The standard in MCP for auth is OAuth 2.1, and today it uses something very weird in OAuth called dynamic client registration, which no MCP servers actually support. So they're actually changing this in the next revision of the MCP protocol to have some other approach to how they actually do that. But a number of MCP servers that are remote just take a like bearer token in the authorization thing, and so so there's like, yes, there's the standard way, but at the end of the day, if you control both client and server, you can do things however you want because it's just HTTP. Did that answer that question?
This is going to be, I'm going to put all this code right there, okay? Can't make that, there you go.
In your attic.
Yep.
That's a long URL.
Too long. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in my last name,
So, quick question.
JS. Some final slides there. So for Amazon Bedrock, I know you have to have your own account, but is it a pay service, or is it, can you?
We used it tonight in the way that, for minimal usage kind of use cases, is that you use it on demand. So you pay per token, and maybe I can actually.
Oh yeah, you
pull up
mentioned tokens earlier. Yeah.
So a token, like what is a token? It's like some chunk, essentially, of text, or it doesn't have to be text. It can be
Well, it's not
whatever,
JWT,
but
right?
a chunk.
Okay.
And so it's not a single character. It's not a word. It's some chunk, and it depends on the vectorization, like what that actually is. But there is, if we go to Bedrock, we were using the Nova Lite model tonight.
Okay.
Let's go just see how much Nova Lite is on pricing here. So there's many different, given all the customers of AWS, there's lots of different ways to do pricing, and I will try to find where is just there's somewhere where it'll tell me. Oh, here it is. If we go to Amazon, we used the Nova model, and we used the Nova Lite model. So the Nova Lite model, per 1,000 input tokens is whatever that number is.
Yeah, right.
How do I zoom in?
Control, and then.
Look at that. Okay, and then price per 1,000 input tokens from a cache read, because we do actually Spring AI 1.1 just added prompt caching.
Oh, so good.
Then you also pay for output tokens. So this is the tokens that go into the LLM, the tokens that go out of the LLM. So you pay for those, different ones. And then you can also do batch. So that's a different pricing. And then input batch and output batch.
What is prompt caching? Can you tell me
You didn't
that?
spend a penny tonight.
We did not
Not
spend a
yet.
penny.
Yeah.
We spent a lot less than a penny tonight.
We tried though, believe me, we made mistakes, we fumbled, we started.
And so all the
Well,
models
they're not
have,
making them anymore.
have
so-
different pricing. Like the light one is less expensive than the pro one, and so you can kind of pick. There's yeah, and if you've got a good GPU on your machine, why not?
What, I think a lot of
For,
orgs,
for especially for like development.
I think a lot of orgs are gonna be using AWS, so it'll be useful to know that this is a production, you have guardrails to make sure people don't spend more than they need to, and you've got multi-tenancy built into the billing and all that. All that stuff is like a known quantity for people. You don't have to learn to scale, manage, and deploy it, or secure it. But if you want to like do a lot more for your tests for local development, that's fine as well, and it's the same Java code, you just change your properties and your profiles perhaps,
Yeah, like if you wanted to run your own EC2 servers with GPUs and run your own models on them, like fine, you can do that. Like there's many different options now for how you actually use LLMs.
Yeah, I reviewed a tech article from an external author a few years ago, and is using Google Cloud, and I created an account, and I only used it a couple of times. The next thing you know, I was billed like $85 the next month. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, I didn't do anything. So that's why I'm a little hesitant on these. So,
No, I mean, I'm at,
so.
can I show my Amazon account? Let's see.
Yeah. Josh has had his Amazon account for 20 years or something.
What do I even see?
There is ways with AWS to put price controls like price alerts or
This is-
cost alerts. And so
Okay, $19 a month.
No, that's not, that's mostly, 99% of that is I have a production piece of software that uses S3.
Oh.
I don't know how to break it down. Do you know how to break it down from like
there is a way. Well, there you
Oh.
can see your.
elastic load balancing? Okay, fine. S3. Oh, I guess the S3 is a lot smaller than I thought
What
it
are you
was.
spending all this money on?
I don't know actually.
You
And then
have an ELB? What are you looking
yeah,
at?
I got a piece of software. I didn't realize it was that expensive. But wait, where's the model stuff? I guess it's other.
Oh, it's so little.
It's so little. Like I don't even know.
Hey, there is a Route 53 here in New Jersey. So. Is
He
there a
says
senior-
as Cloudflare stops doing their job.
Is there a senior citizen discount? No.
New accounts, I'm sure everybody has AWS accounts already, so this doesn't impact you, but new AWS accounts get like some number of credits for 6 months, and there's some like starter thing that they throw at you. So
And we have Amazon Prime. Does that help? You have to create a separate account. That's totally separate, right?
it's totally separate.
Okay.
I think it used to actually be the same
Okay,
account.
yeah, that's what
but yeah, you used to be able to like use
Oh,
your
that's true,
Amazon.com
AWS,
account
yeah.
for buying
Okay.
1 million GPUs on AWS, and people decided that was a bad idea.
I have saving opportunities.
Not enabled. Let's
What?
get enabled those.
What is that? What? I didn't know you could save on 30. What is? Okay, this is a homework for later.
So
We
the
got
final
our-
question I had is, so and I asked this to Marcus Hellberg too when he gave a talk earlier this year, right, on AI, and it was such a wonderful, chatbot, and the thing is, every time I've encountered a chatbot on whatever, whether it's a bank or whatever, it's like you ask a question, you get back every answer but the one you wanted. So I don't know when are they going to improve, and when are they going to
I mean, Babel.
Yeah, I think
Okay, yeah.
that's where that MIT study I think was showing that a lot of these projects that are trying to do this are not having good outcomes for the users for what they're trying to actually do. And I think the big reason for that is that we've not generally been building these systems close to our data and processes, so it becomes hard to integrate into the right places in our existing systems. That's one. And then number two is that we've been using technology that is brittle and stringly typed and like not able to actually get us to the reliability that we talked about with we want to get to more nines of reliability. We want to be able to actually trust the outputs, and we just haven't generally yet as the industry been building on the right foundations to get us to higher reliability. So that's where Spring AI is very exciting because and Babel other JVM.
I mean,
you know,
what you
agent
guys put
frameworks.
together and what Marcus showed us was just awesome. It's like, why can't everybody else do that? So that's, but, yeah.
Well,
So.
You're quoting a statistic on how successful AR projects are, but have you compared that to how successful non-AI projects are?
Probably a fair point.
I've heard that like 90% of software projects fail, but that's given the
So you're on, so
dimensions.
it's a 5% difference.
That's right. Just
Well, maybe
just
90%
fail
of
everywhere.
those fail because
So-
of AI.
No.
So the 90% statistic that I've heard around this is they include not being on budget and not being on time. And I have never been part of a software project that was on time and on budget. Both of
Which
those.
ones?
So
I wouldn't even know what it looked like.
So it's a once in a lifetime
Yeah.
activity. So I don't know if the MIT study if they included on time and on budget as the parameters for failure or not, as potential parameters.
Topic for our next session.
Yeah.
Well, this was fun. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This was absolutely awesome. Just going to wrap
Oh,
up.
yeah, we got your wrap up.
Yeah, I just real quick. I'm not
Okay.
going to go through my usual, just do it real fast.
You did that once this
It's
month.
been a long day for a lot of us here, so. All right. So real quick, we have upcoming for us. Oh yeah, so QCon San Francisco is going on right now, and so is the AI Native DevCon, which James and Josh came from. Jakarta won a live stream on December 2nd. Got a full suite of talks for that, all virtual. QCon AI New York, which I will be attending and covering for InfoQ. And then for us, coming up, we have Eric DeAndrea on December 3rd, talking about Quarkus for Spring developers. So, and then we have Rogerio Robetti will be live from Ireland, so remotely, and we'll talk about a project that he put together called it's now OpenJ Proxy because he can't use the JDBC. And then we have Bhupendra Mishra on January, talking about the art of debugging in the area of AI. So with that, we'll look forward to seeing you guys on December 3rd. Like I said, we'll have 2 meetings next month, and we're working on getting February and beyond scheduled for all of you. So yes.
December 9th is a completely online event.
Well, no, we'll meet here. So just yeah, good question. Rogerio will be presenting from Dublin, here. So yeah, but we'll still gather here. So it'll be kind of like a watch party.
He will be online.
Yes.
He will be in person.
Yeah. So yeah. So with that, again, thanks for coming out. Thanks, Josh and James. It was just an actual honor to have you guys here. We appreciate the effort coming out here. And just so you know, I did offer them to, at the end of a long day, to stay in the comfort of their hotel room or a conference room in New York and to present locally, but they insisted, and we appreciate that really very much. So, and they'll be in New York. They'll be in New York tomorrow. You guys doing the same presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's, cause we took a red eye, and we've been up basically since 6 in the morning.
Ooh.
And slept 4 hours, and we did the 7-hour thing yesterday in San Francisco. So
Oh.
hopefully between now and tomorrow, we thread that sleep,
Yeah, and you'll be back in San Francisco for QCon San Francisco on
Yeah.
Friday for a workshop, I understand,
That'll
right?
be the fun.
Yeah. So anyway, so with that, thanks. Safe travels home, everybody. Thanks again for coming out, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month. So.